Batching. This is one that we get so many comments on from people on social media or people who have been in our courses. And they say batching has just changed the game for them. So batching is doing all of the same activity in one go. So consider writing your reports by batching sections. You might do this by writing all of your literacy comments, but you could take it one step further.
Welcome to Rainbow Skies for New Teachers, where we're all about bite-sized tips and simple strategies for bright and busy new teachers.
If you're in your first few years of your career and want to make the rollercoaster ride of teaching more fun, streamlined and stress-free, you're in the right place.
We're Ashley and Alicia, the dynamic duo from Rainbow Sky Creations, and we're excited to be your teacher mentors on the go. There are rainbows ahead, my friend.
And together, we're unstoppable. Let's get into today's episode.
Rainbow Sky Creations acknowledges the traditional owners of the land we have recorded this podcast on, the Dharawal and Whadjuk Noongar people. We pay our respects to their elders past and present and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander cultures.
Well, hello. Welcome back to the podcast Rainbow Skies for New Teachers. We are here today ready to talk about a topic that you might not want to listen to, but we're going to try and make this fun and we're going to try and make it worthwhile.
Yes, we're all about fun and making it worth your time and energy because, hey, we don't want to waste any of that precious time at all.
No, we know teachers definitely are time poor. But before we dive into talking about report writing and some productivity strategies, Alicia, I wanted to share with you a few funny things that we've heard on Instagram lately. We put up a post asking what the most unreasonable requests teachers have gotten from parents. Now, one of the most unreasonable requests I ever got is not particularly funny, but it was a parent who wanted to see her child's workbook, and I gave her the workbooks the first time that this happened. And she then went ahead and erased every single page of that workbook and made her child redo it because it wasn't up to the standard, her standard as the parent. Now, the next time she came and asked for the workbooks, I refused, which ended up in this parent being fairly unhappy with me. We were inside a big building, so all the classrooms were inside and the halls are very echoey. So the fact that she was raising her voice was made even louder by being inside. My perspective was I was trying to stick up for this child. You know, it wasn't really her fault. She shouldn't have to go and redo all of the work just because her mum was being unreasonable. Anyway, the principal heard the kerfuffle, came to see us and insisted that I give the mother the workbooks because she was the mother and I was the teacher. And yeah, it just continued. She continued to rub out the child's work and make her redo it.
That poor kid.
I know.
The one I had was a parent asked me to call her every night for a week when her child had to go to bed.
What? She wanted you to call in the night?
Yes. Yep. Because he listened to me. So he wasn't sleeping well at home. So could you please help by calling each night at around 8:30, 9 p.m. One, that child's bedtime has to be earlier so that I could tell them to go to sleep. I went, yeah, sorry, you're on your own with that one.
Oh, gosh. I mean, school teacher / personalized bedtime.
Sleep coach.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I can't wait to hear what other ones we have.
Okay, so one parent has written, I once had a parent ask me to teach her daughter in Spanish. I don't know any Spanish.
That's taking ESL to a whole nother level for the teacher and all.
Yes. Okay, this is a goodie. This teacher was asked to boil chicken in their classroom for the child, then shred it and put spices on it because the child only likes hot, fresh food.
Wow. Have they not heard of a thermos? Come on, people.
Okay, we'll do one more. Okay, this one is out there. You ready for it?
Hit us with it.
I once had a parent who said her son was having trouble going to the bathroom, and I was asked to hold his penis while he weed. I've written in the comments, no way. And someone else has written, hands down, you win.
Wow. I really hope that child was in early childhood. That's all I can say.
Me too. But, you know,
maybe mainstream schooling isn't for you if that's where you're at the moment.
Okay, so that was a bit of fun. Let's dive into report writing, which isn't so fun for teachers.
Which is why we're going to give you 12 productivity strategies that you can apply when the report writing season kicks in. And even some of these you can use in your everyday teaching life. So let's dive into the first one. It's a
Okay.
goodie and it's simple.
It is. Eliminate distractions. So find a place that you're comfortable working in and get rid of all of the distractions in the room. That includes phones, podcasts, or chatty colleagues if you're doing it at school, or chatty little people in your home if you're doing it at home. Put your phone on airplane mode or put it in another room. I love to put it in another room. Turn off your Wi-Fi on the computer if needed, if you can't stop yourself going and checking social media or your emails or what have you, and just get down to what you need to do. Now, one thing that Alicia and I always say when we're talking about eliminating distractions is think about a goal that you set yourself for that particular time that you're going to sit down. So I like to say set an hour timer. It's a good amount of time to really dive into your work. Put your phone into another room and think about, okay, in this hour, I want to get A, B, and C done, or I want to start writing all of my literacy comments. I want to complete all of the entering of my grades. Think about what you want, your key goal, and work towards that. But the key is to get rid of all of those things. Anything that rings or dings needs to be out of the room.
Absolutely. I love to pop in my headphones, my noise cancelling ones, even with no sound on. It's just super quiet. Get it done. Or put some music on, but eliminate those distractions. The main one is get that phone out of there.
Yeah, it's such a time suck, isn't it?
It is. It's made to steal your time and it's very good at accomplishing it.
Yes.
Our next one is work during your prime time. So if you work better in the morning, do it in the morning. If you work better late at night, do it late at night. If you work better on the weekend and blocking out a weekend or half a day on the weekend to get it done, do it. I was guilty of at times if I would wake at 4 o'clock in the morning, I'd be like, all right, I'm ready to go. And I would block out 1 hour, smash out my reports, and I'd feel pretty accomplished by the start of that day. And you might work opposite. You might be like, I get to the evening, I have a second win, I'm ready to write reports between like 9 o'clock and 10 o'clock. And you go to bed going, yes, tick, done. Find your prime time.
Gosh, I bet you felt accomplished and maybe a little tired, did you?
I think I actually got a bit of an adrenaline high. I remember doing it quite a bit in my first few years of teaching, but then I'm an early bird.
She is, you guys. She always has been since I've known her, always an early bird. But I guess the point of this is to find what works for you. Alicia, that is the way that she likes to do it. For me, I like to do little bits at a time. So I just set myself little tiny goals, and over a period of time, I get there in the end. But find what works for you and stick with it. I think sometimes we're always looking to follow rules, and that following the rules that is best for how you work is probably the best way to go about it.
Number 3 is prep your workspace. A clear space is a clear mind. So if your workspace is looking chaotic, and you might choose to do it at school to get your reports done, all you can do is just get the things off your desk that don't need to be there, sweep it into the top of a photocopier box, put it aside, and have a clear desk. Have something to drink, have your spreadsheets there, your assessment book, any assessments that you might need, and get a typing.
Yeah, I think this one really is stopping yourself procrastinating by saying, oh, I just need to get to this, or I've got this. But also it makes it clearer so you can get everything that you need out and access it. So other things that you might need is all of your assessment data there and ready at your fingertips. If you're the sort of person that's going to get up and get yourself a snack, have that snack there ready to go. So your workspace is set up for you to succeed.
Next one, batching.
Batching. This is one that we get so many comments on from people on social media or people who have been in our courses, and they say batching has just changed the game for them. So batching is doing all of the same activity in one go. So consider writing your reports by batching sections. You might do this by writing all of your literacy comments, but you could take it one step further and you could take all of your lower ability students and write all of their comments first together in one group. Then you might take your core group and write all of their comments. And then you might take your group that is that little bit higher achieving above grade level, and you write all of those. So what you're doing there is you're not asking your brain to switch around too much. You're doing a very similar task. So then you get in the flow and things become a lot easier. Experts say that batching is so much easier on the brain and it helps you work faster, which we want to get our reports done faster. You can do batching in your everyday life as well.
Yes, it's been a game changer in my world, incorporating batching. When you incorporate it into your report writing, you're going to see a drastic reduction in time. Like straight up there, you've gone and done all your literacy comments because you have sectioned them off into little groups. You'll have them done by one afternoon. You could,
Yep.
if you wanted to.
Totally.
So try batching. I even love to do it when I'm marking assessments. And I find this is easier, like if you're doing an assessment that is made up of pages. Like I'm not factoring in writing here, but you got a maths test, a science test. You just mark the first page first and you do that for your whole class. Then you march the second page, the third page, and you already, by the time you're getting halfway through, you know all the answers. So you're just marking it 10 times quicker. So give it a go.
Batching. The opposite to multitasking, if that helps you, anyone out there. Okay. The next one is keeping checklists. Now, as teachers, we love checklists, and it's a great way to note down what you need to do if you're a visual teacher and you need to see what you have to come. So create a checklist to help you avoid any last-minute jobs that you forget that might crop up. If you don't have a checklist, we have got one in our report writing companion, which is a guide that we've put together with lots of information in it, but it's also got sentence starters and some comments that you can look at, even bits and pieces that you can copy and paste from. It's got word banks. So if you're looking for a checklist, we've got one there. I will pop the link to that in the show notes. But if you don't want to go down the track of getting a checklist that someone else has created, as you're doing your reports the first time this year, write down what you do. And then next time you do the reports, you have got your checklist there for everything that you did. So you're kind of creating it as you go. The first time around, a little bit more time consuming, but you will thank yourself because you write reports twice a year. Yeah, I'm telling you, the years just come and go.
Yeah, they get quicker.
They do. They certainly do. And before you know it, you've written, 25 reports.
And a little tip that Ashley shared was don't throw away that checklist that you had, that you might have written for semester one. You pull it out, you have a look at it, and you might write another one at semester two and see how they change. So by the time you are moving into your second or third year of teaching, you've got this idyllic checklist for you when it comes to report writing. Tip number 6 is, we kind of touched on this before when we were talking about eliminate distractions. Try an hour of power. So choose an hour to work on one report writing task away from distractions to maximize productivity. So decide what your focus area might be. Now, what I actually like to do if I'm doing my core subjects, if I'm looking at maths, I'll look at the outcomes we've covered for that semester. So for 1 hour, I would block time out to go, all right, we covered the 4 operations, we covered problem solving, we also covered measurement where we looked at length and volume. So I will quickly write a bank of comments for A students, B students, C students, D students. Now, if I do that in 1 hour, I've got my sentences sitting there. So when I allot another hour, I should be able to get all my report comments done because I'm just copying and pasting and putting all those sentences together for my A, B, C, D students.
Yes. And you're going to find that this strategy is a really good way to increase motivation because once you really get yourself set into a task and that hour is over, you kind of will find yourself on a roll. I like to couple this with some of the other strategies that we've been talking about. Eliminate distractions. Get rid of that phone, anything else that's going to ding and annoy you and steal your concentration. Have your workspace ready and then try this hour of power. The other little trick with an hour of power is to have a piece of paper beside you or a Google Doc that you can brain dump anything that comes into your mind that might pop up that isn't to do with the task. So you might think, oh, I've got to go and get chicken for dinner. Oh, I forgot to write back to that email to that parent, or must mark the homework books tomorrow because the next day is a long weekend. Write all of that down on a brain dump list because that way you're writing it down, you acknowledge that it's there and you can go back to all of those thoughts, but they're not going to distract you from the actual task at hand. And I think as teachers, that's one of the hardest things. We've got so many balls in the air. We're thinking of so many things.
Yes, it's life today. So if you've got your little brain dump, you can just let that go because you've got it documented to reference to later.
Yeah. It's so easy to get distracted. So that brain dump really helps with that. Okay. Tip number 7 is positive self-talk. So our attitude plays a huge role in our success. Saying things like, oh, this is taking forever, or I'm never going to get this done in time is not going to set yourself up for success. Even though writing reports on your weekend might not be the most riveting of tasks that you want to do, try and change your mindset and speak kindly to yourself and cheer yourself on. Things like, I'm ready to do A, B, and C. Or, wow, I'm really getting through this. Tricking your brain into a more positive mindset can really help the flow of getting those reports written.
I like to pair up positive self-talk with rewards.
I knew she was going to say this, you guys. I knew it.
But I think as well, when you start saying things like, oh, I'm never going to get through that, already you're putting up a mental roadblock. You've already made it hard for yourself cognitively. Switch it up. We all know that positive self-talk can have rapid benefits on how we look at things and approach tasks, and then pair it up. Like, oh, great, I've accomplished A. I'm going to go get a coffee. I've accomplished B. I'm going to go get my second coffee with a sneaky bit of chocolate. Obviously, I am motivated like my daughter is to food, but it could be as simple as that. Just pair it up with something that you love to do. Or once I get through this, I get to enjoy my evening stress-free, doing whatever I would like to do with whomever I want to do it with.
Yeah, give yourself permission to binge that terrible TV show or read your book or go for a swim, like whatever floats your boat. I like a little sweet treat as well, especially when I'm working on computer tasks like reports.
Yes, which pairs up with what we're going to talk about for our next tip was filling your tank up. So
yes,
when you make those accomplishments with your report writing, it could be as you've just written your checklist on how you plan to get through your reports. Fill your tank up, celebrate it. That took a bit of brain power. So go do something that you enjoy to do, because that break time is going to allow you to be more productive. So whether it is you don your running gear and you go for a run, or you're off to meet a friend or watch that TV show, celebrate that and fill your tank up. And then you're going to be ready for the next day.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really say this. If you're listening to this and you're burning the midnight oil because your reports are due tomorrow, you need to disregard this. But last night, Alicia and I were working on a project and I said to her, I'll finish that off. I'll have a look at what you've done. And I needed to make some tweaks and adjustments and finish it off. And as I got started, I was just so tired. And I wasn't doing a very good job. I couldn't really think of it. And I knew it was going to take me a lot longer if I did it when I was really tired. And I texted Alicia and I said, look, I'm just really tired. I'm going to do this tomorrow. And I was honoring my energy. Instead, I went and had dinner, relaxed, and went to bed and got a good night's sleep. Now, this morning I've woken up and I've done that task really quickly. And I think sometimes you do need to honor that and look at yourself. Are you running on empty? And if you are running on empty, perhaps that is not the time to force yourself to do something either.
Yeah, that's the definition of you're going to lead yourself to burnout.
Yeah.
So you have to fill your tank. You have to do whatever you can. And if you're finding, I used to work at a school where the principal would say, I know report writing is stressful. I know sometimes we can find it hard to fit it into our time. I want you to knock on my door and tell me you need me to fill in for a lesson or two. I have no problems with you doing that. So straight away, she had given us the invitation to find the time to fill our tank. And that was huge. Like, just knowing that was there allowed you to be like, okay, I've got someone who's got my back and they understand this is not a fun time for teachers, but they're supporting me along the way.
What an amazing principal.
Yeah, that was amazing school.
Okay, the next one's kind of similar in that we encourage you to take breaks. It's important that you're focused when you're working, which is kind of what we were just speaking about, but permit yourself to take a break. It's going to help you with your productivity. Even simple things like a stretch, a walk to the toilet, filling up your water bottle, getting outside and looking around and getting some fresh air, that can all help with coming back and refocusing instead of sitting down for hours and hours on end and just trying to push through.
To my fellow Apple Watch lovers, when you get that reminder to stand up in the last 10 minutes of the hour, go do that. If you're getting that reminder, go do it. I have a standing table, so I find myself sitting for quite a while and then I feel like I'm hitting a roadblock. So I'll get up and I'll be like, oh, I've got a standing table, and I just hit the button, it elevates it, and just standing and doing my work already has a beneficial effect to kind of getting the blood flow to the brain and getting me focused on accomplishing that task in a short amount of time.
This is a completely digression, but have you ever tried one of those walking things underneath your desk?
I've seen them. I would love to try them, but I feel like I could be a bit uncoordinated and might have an incident.
Yeah, I'm really interested. I feel like I wouldn't really work that well with it. But if you've ever had one of those walking desks and it works for you, let us know. I'm like so intrigued by them.
And I think an exercise ball, like a big one, like if you've got a desk, can be, especially if you're a little bit of a fidgeter, like you like that movement. A lot of that as well is linked with, I was watching a doctor completely off task, kind of like linked with your lymphatic system and draining it. But also one of the biohacks, like for longevity, is kind of jumping on a trampoline or bouncing or movement. If you incorporate it into your task, you have to get it done quicker, right?
I don't know.
And just as efficiently. All these productivity tips that we're giving you today is not about doing it quicker and at a lower quality. It's doing it at a higher quality with these strategies. They're going to help you be a superpower accomplisher when it comes to your report writing.
Yeah, for sure. Because you still need to give that high quality work over to the parents when they're reading about their children.
Yeah, absolutely. Number 10 is a great one.
Yes.
And it's saved my life.
It has saved mine too. And it is using a generic comment bank. I once worked for a principal that would allude to the fact that this is cheating. But I'm telling you, it is not. There are loads of report generic comment banks out there or vocabulary lists that you can use that can help you write the reports. You don't want to overwhelm yourself with too much. I know I've fallen into that basket before. Choose a few comments to work from.
Yes, choose a few comments to work from and ones that parents are going to understand. You don't want to have teacher lingo in your report comments. And like I shared before, I would be using these comment banks to make my own sentences that I would store for my students. And then I would be taking those sentences and importing them into my document. So they're there as a tool to help you. They're not there to write the report for you.
No. And I think this is along the same lines of using AI to help you. So let's just add in this is strategy 10, but let's add in 10B and say, using AI can really be a great tool to help you create comment banks or help you with different words and vocabulary to substitute in and out. Again, there has been a lot of talk among schools and principals not wanting their teachers to use AI, but I think that is absolutely ridiculous because really that AI isn't the teacher in the classroom and you still need to use your judgment on whether that is great to hand in and it is a reflection of that student or not. So I don't think there really is a teacher out there that would get AI to write their reports and just copy and paste it into the document and be done with it. Of course, you're going to read it. Of course, you're going to see if it aligns with that child and what you know about that child. So I would say go ahead and use AI if that can help you with creating some of these comment banks, or if it can help you reword things, making sure things are grammatically correct. It's fabulous for that as well, making sure things flow, because I know sometimes when we've been writing reports, especially comments, sometimes after a while, those comments don't flow in a nice, beautiful way like they should as well. So it's really great for that too. So please use AI. If your school is against it, they are never going to know unless you say it.
Oh, Ashley.
I know. I just said it.
I love as well the elements of AI is you got student A and student B who are so similar, but you don't want to write the exact same report for them, especially if the parents are friends as well. So it's just a great way of thinking of that AI as a form of a thesaurus as well. Like we say, it's a tool that you're going to help you get to.
Yes. Now, I know we've released information on how you can use AI for report writing before on our socials, and teachers always ask what we use. Alicia and I use ChatGPT, the original AI, I guess. You can use that. You could use one that is more teaching related. There's so many different ones out there. So just find what works for you. But if you want to know the one we use the free version of ChatGPT.
Yes. We've kind of touched on this one, number 11, working smarter. I feel like all the productivity tips we're sharing with you today are a form of working smarter. So using your generic comments, making ready to go bank comments that are applicable to your class, to your school, to their style is going to save you time. So you make sure you save their documents. They're ready for next term. One I would love to do is I would have all my semester 1 report comments. I would have it per subject because that's how I work. I I write comments per subject. So I'd have all my maths subjects saved in one document. When it came to semester 2, I would pop up that document and I would then go, okay, I've said this about that student, or I've mentioned this goal. I'm going to make sure I'm either covering that if I haven't discussed it with parents in my semester 2 comment. And I'm just going to make sure I'm not going to say all the same things because I want to show there has been some form of growth. That in itself was a great reference point for me to know where the child was and where they've hopefully moved on to.
Another way you can work smarter, especially if you're a first year teacher or you are at a new school, is going and asking the teacher who taught the grade before you, could I have a copy of your report comments from last year? Now, that might feel uncomfortable, but one great thing about that is that you're going to see what has been approved by the school leadership team the year before. So leadership teams like reports to be written a certain way, in a certain format, especially comments. And it's great to see how those comments have been formatted by the teacher before. But also you might pull out some really great sentences and think, oh, I wouldn't have said it like that, but I love how these teachers use that sentence, or I love how these teachers use that word. I'm going to put that into my repertoire. I did that moving to a new school, and it was directly after we'd been teaching in Dubai. So our reports in Dubai were very different and they had changed over the year. So when I came back to Australia, I was in my headspace of writing the reports in Dubai. I had to write a whole heap of reports at the last minute because I was taking over a class. And I asked the teacher before me to help with what they had written. And it was an absolute godsend. Not only that, I learned quite a few things along the way as well.
Yes, use those around you. Tip number 12, the very last one, is just be intentional. If you're planning to get those reports started on Monday, do it. A lot of time in your calendar, even if it is for 15 minutes or 13 minutes. So make sure, be intentional with your time. Incorporate all those other elements of eliminating the distractions, having your checklist, having your prep station ready to go, and just get it started. I feel like report writing is a bit like ripping off a Band-Aid. Once you've done it, painful, but you get into the flow and then you're just, in all honesty, can't wait to get it finished.
Totally. One thing that we always hear from our new teachers, and actually this surprises me that this is the feedback that we get, people who come to our blog, they say, the thing that stood out to me the most was you girls said, remember, report writing is a part of your job and we have to just get it done. And I find that surprising that that stands out to people, but it's so true. It is part of your job. There are going to be Debbie Downers in the staff room whinging about it. There are going to be people complaining. Perhaps there's teachers that are a little bit more emotionally heightened because there's been a little bit more workload added on during report writing time. But we know that they're coming up. We know they're coming up twice a year. So get yourself prepped. If you're not prepped this time, you'll know for next time. And just remember, it's part of your job. Once you're done, you can tick it off the list and move on.
And look, a bag of fun-sized chocolates in the staff room can go a long way. So maybe just chuck a few bags in there if people are a bit cranky.
Here we are with the treats again.
Yes, extrinsic motivators all the way.
So at the end of the day, a magical fairy isn't going to do your reports, but we can help ourselves with some of these productivity tips. We hope you found these 12 helpful. Do you want to give us a little recap, Alicia?
Yes. First is, here we go. Eliminate distractions, work during your prime time, prep your workstation, batching, keeping checklists, try an hour of power, positive self-talk goes a very long way, fill your tank, take breaks, use those generic comment banks / AI, work smarter, and lastly, be intentional.
Awesome. Now, if you're a new teacher and you're thinking, this is the first time I've ever written reports and I am just overwhelmed, I don't even know where to start, we can help you. We have got a masterclass inside our membership, Transform Your First Years, that is all about report writing. We give you our report companion, which is linked in our show notes. But if you're a first year teacher and you're thinking, I need a bit more hand holding, then we are your gals. You get our report companion, you get our mini masterclass, and we're talking all about reports in the upcoming month where we can help you with any questions that you might have.
So if you click on the link in the show notes, you'll get a sneaky special where usually it's $23 a month to join, but you can join for $18 a month. And with that, you're going to already get the report companion guide and all our goodness on top of what we've shared today.
Yeah, and the community is a really great place to go during this report writing time, especially if you're feeling unsure or you just need a little bit of motivation. Everyone in there is so supportive of each other.
Absolutely. So come on by, come join us at Transform Your First Years. And we have loved talking to you about 12 productivity tips. As much as I never liked doing report writing, I do love giving strategies to make the process a lot easier for teachers. So I really hope you found this episode beneficial. And we love your support and taking the time to listen to what we have to share at Rainbow Skies for New Teachers. So if you know a new teacher who will really benefit from this episode when it comes to report writing, please share it with them.
Yeah, send it to them in a text. Just say, hey, was thinking of you. You might find this helpful.
Until next time, there are rainbows ahead, my friend.
And together, we're unstoppable.